Alright, in this video I'm going to walk through how to use a Fabric notebook to send sample data to an event stream. I've been trying to learn more about notebooks and real-time intelligence in Fabric, and came up with this demo to use myself and thought it might be useful to others if you're doing demos, or if you wanted to adapt this approach so that you could use your own known sample data to sort of develop all the downstream stuff before your real-time actual source is ready. So the approach I'm going to use in this video I found on this Microsoft Learn page here, how to use send or receive stuff to event hubs using Python, and that also works with event streams. The files are here on my GitHub file share. I'll put the link in the description. You really just need to download this Python notebook, and then the code will call this CSV file as an example in case you want to use this one. But again, you can easily adapt it for your own data frames. All right, so I'm just going to start with a blank empty Fabric workspace. I'm going to switch over to the data engineering experience so that I can import a notebook. And I'll just import that one I just showed you. It's called mock data stream. All right, so now I've got the notebook there. I'm going to go ahead and set up two other things we're going to need. The first is we're going to need an event stream to capture the data coming from the Python notebook, and then we're going to need an event house with a Kusto KQL database in there to store the data. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the event house first. I've starred my typical items that I create, so I just go to my favorites thing here, and I'll do the event house. I'll do that event house demo. That'll create the event house and also create the database there for me. Good on that stuff. And then I will go back and create the event stream. All right. And then I'm going to just wire this up. So what you're going to want to do is create a custom endpoint, which is going to allow us to send data from the Python notebook. So I'll create the custom endpoint, and then it's going to go through the event stream, and it's going to end up in our event house. So I'm going to go ahead, and we're going to end up doing a direct ingestion. And it's in this workspace called notebook to event stream. That's the event house and the database that were created there. Okay. So those are there. Then I just need to go ahead and publish this. And the reason I need to publish it is so that this custom endpoint will become active, and it gives us the stuff we need to send data to it. And the two things you need, the code will show you this, but you need to copy the event hub name. So I'm going to copy that. And then you need this connection string primary key. So I'm going to show that and then copy it. So those are both on my clipboard history. And now I can go back finally to the notebook. And I will open the notebook. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is install this Azure Event Hub. That'll take about 15 seconds to install, I think. And then I'll just walk through some of these other cells here. I'm actually not going to use this first one, but the approach is the same, and I include it here in case it's helpful to you. Basically, this imports the packages that you need. You need this Event Hub producer client and event data from the Azure Event Hub stuff we just installed. And so this first one wouldn't pull from an external data frame like I'm about to show you. This one would just generate random data just inside this in this notebook. So I start out with this empty array devices, and then just generate a range 1 to 10, basically creating an array of from 1 to 10. Then this is where you would paste those values that I just copied. I'll do it in the cell below. And then you create this producer client. And again, this is very similar to the code in that Learn article. And in this one, I'm just doing range 0 to 6, so 0 to 5 really. And then I create an empty batch. And then for each of these 10 devices that I created, go ahead and create a dummy reading. So the ID is just the whether, 1 through 10. And then it grabs the current date time, and it just creates a random temperature between these values and a random humidity between these values. Then it creates that into a JSON string with this JSON.dumps. I go ahead and print it just so that I can see the notebook that the output is actually working. It gets added to the event data batch, and then the producer sends the data over to it. And then this is the number of seconds between sending batches of data. I have it set to 15 seconds here. Then you need to close the producer, right? So this is just one pattern you could use. You could put in whatever mock data you wanted to send to your event stream. In my case, I wanted to have data that had some interesting structure to it so that I could do downstream stuff, real-time dashboard, data activator to trigger off of things, that kind of stuff. So I had some fun in Excel with the Lambda function to create some time series data. I'll go ahead and run this. This is that CSV file that's on my file share as well. And I'll just go ahead and pull that in and then display what the raw data looks like. And so all it is 500 rows of data. Each of those rows is a batch of data that's going to get sent. And then I've got, I think, 17 different devices. And if I just, make a new chart here, I'll build my own. I really like this feature of notebooks that you can just look at the data from a data frame in here like this. And I'll just do the batch. And then I've just got a whole bunch of different lines here with different amounts of jitter and offset, that kind of stuff. But then it gets more interesting if I pick some of these other ones. 7, 11, it's just a line. 14 is a sine wave. I think 15 is a cosine. 16 is a Gaussian, and 17 is a square wave. And again, they all have a certain amount of jitter on top of them. Right. So this is the set of data I chose to send over to it. The rest of this just unpivots the data with the melt function from pandas, and then I'm renaming the columns from variable and value to device and temp, and then I'm filtering it just to those same ones that I showed you in the demo here. So there's 17 that could be sent. I'm only sending these 7 over because they were more interesting, and I could do some interesting stuff with data activator with those. So if I drop down to this cell here, this is really the combination of both of those. All the stuff to read in the data here with it bringing in the CSV from the URL, all the unpivot and rename and filtering stuff is identical to what I just showed you, and then it also has the Event Hub name that I'm going to paste from my clipboard history. Looks like that, and then the endpoint was this other one. It's pretty long. So that's going to go to that custom endpoint that I just created over in the event stream. Same stuff as before, start the producer. And then in this case, I know there's 500 rows or 500 batches. Unpivoted, it's much more than that. And so now what this does is it goes through 1 to 500, filters it just to, so first iteration would get where batch equals 1, so just those 17 or 7 rows basically for batch equals 1 once it's filtered down to those 7. And then I'm again creating a JSON packet again where I'm getting the device value, which is this D003 for example, getting the current timestamp, and then just grabbing the temperature from that current row, create the JSON packet again. I like to print it so I see that it's working, add it to the batch, and then send the batch. And in this case, I'm only waiting 5 seconds in between. Okay, then we close the producer. So I'm going to go ahead and just start this running. And once it does, we should start to see the data being streamed over to the event stream. And now we can go over to our event stream. Probably still need to configure something with the KQL. Let's do that. Yeah, I needed to create a table. I'll just call it temps. We're not going to do any additional stuff. It's finding some data there. We see the data coming through. I need to let it finish, sorry. All right. All right, so now that's active. Again, we see the data coming into the event stream. And if we go over to the event house and this database, and we now have this temps table here. And so now we can start doing all the real-time intelligence stuff that we want. If I create a new related item, I could do like a query set. We'll grab this one, and then we got temps where, and then I think it's ID. I think that was one of them. So I can, right, I've got my query set going. I could also go back to the database, and instead of a query set, I could do a related item. I could do a real-time dashboard. For example, and then defaults to the table there. I could modify that. I don't want just take 10, I want all of it. So I could run that, and then I could change the visual to my line chart, for example, and then apply those changes. I forget where the auto refresh was here. Maybe it's in manage, auto refresh. So then I could just enable auto refresh here. And then every 10 seconds this should update with the latest batch of data. Or 2 batches, because I think I had it set at 5 seconds. So that's just a quick demo in case that's useful to a few of you out there that want to play with this stuff yourself, or send some known data in advance of your real-time data being active, or just want to do a real simple demo of real-time intelligence and/or notebooks. All right, thanks.